Sanders pulls crowd of 27,500 in LA, and thankfully, as I was saying earlier on, I was lucky enough to be one of those 27,500 going to this Bernie Sanders rally yesterday. So I think they could fit about 20,000 in the actual stadium, and it did seem full. Apparently, they had to stop literally thousands and thousands of people from even going in. And after he gave his speech, which was about, I would say, 45 minutes long or so, he then went outside and addressed the huge overflow crowd, which was pretty awesome. And so for me, I don't go to a lot of political events, really. Like, I'd been to a Hillary speech during the primary back when I was at UT a number of years ago. And so it was pretty awesome, I have to say, being surrounded by so many people that were generally quite young. It was a diverse crowd, obviously very progressive, very passionate. And I'm used to listening to, like, the GOP debates where the applause lines tend to be, like, mocking women and executing people. And so to be in a crowd that does applaud for equal pay, or maybe let's not get into a war with Iran, or how about we not deport, the parents of, like, a 6-month-old or something like that, that was an awesome experience. And it certainly didn't hurt that I was able to meet a lot of fans as well. Jimmy Dore was incredibly popular with that crowd. And so Bernie Sanders, I was impressed with the speech that he gave. He's not the greatest public speaker, but I do think he is better than average in the Democratic Party. He was forceful. He said the right things, and also he said a lot of specific things. Coming out of that speech, there are so many. Look, you could get more specific, but he gave very specific ideas of what he wants to do in terms of the economy, social issues, international politics, a number of different topics. And that is not what you're hearing in the speeches or rallies or a number of other politicians, where at best they give sort of vague references to the Constitution or to the Bible or whatever. And we've heard those a million times before. And so it was refreshing to hear some actual specifics. And so Eric Wallace is asking, are we going to incorporate the interviews we did into the main show today? Or are they going to be separate videos? I do think it's going to become a video, and I do think that we're going to use it on the main show, but possibly not today. It's going to take a good amount of time to go through all of the footage and produce something out of it. But we did interview a number of Bernie Sanders supporters, or people who were there, which are probably like 99% supporters, and asked them what it is about Sanders that has them fired up. I asked a couple of different people, what policy positions that he's not currently open about, or that he hasn't talked about much, could he have that would cause you to not support Bernie Sanders? And people hadn't really thought about that much in the past. So I don't know. I don't know for sure. Actually, I saw that female reporter. I saw her there. I don't know for sure that it was 27,000. Oh, I ran into Jacob Soboroff as well. They always overestimate, but I would not be surprised if that was true. Sarah Silverman was there. I'm a big fan of that. That was pretty cool. And so, looking around a crowd of 27,000 people, like 27,000 is not, the millions of votes you need to win a primary. But looking around, it was difficult to buy the idea that, we should say that Trump has a real chance, but Bernie Sanders, he can't win. I think that is becoming more and more ridiculous with every passing day. Marco Antonio is asking, were Black Lives Matters there at the rally? I don't know. I mean, certainly there was discussion of it. His new press secretary, I'm not sure if she's technically his press secretary, but she was talking about the movement, but I don't think that she's a member of the movement, and it certainly wasn't interrupted or anything like that. Eric Wallace is asking, speaking of policy positions, did he address minority issues? Yeah, definitely. I mean, he talked about police brutality. He talked about his platform on police reform. Economic issues, obviously, incredibly, that's important to every population, obviously. Yeah, so Digital Bookworm brings up that Sanders now has the backing of the National Nurses Union, which, by the way, this is pretty early to be for any of those unions to be backing people, but they did. And they actually had a representative of that nurses union speaking about why they support him. Let's see. At the Medicare anniversary week, was that the same? Are you talking about the Seattle thing, Only Free Thinkers? I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Garden Gnome, I don't know. I mean, the polls are getting closer and closer. I mean, at one point, I would like to go back and see the gap in the polls between Obama and Hillary, for instance. I don't find it impossible to imagine that there was this large of a gap at some point between them.